Hey guys, what is going on? It is Keon, aka Kiana. Um, as most of you guys know me. This is gonna be my first introductory video to basically what I'm gonna be start doing here on this channel. There was a long time ago where I kind of, I'm gonna just get right into it. For the spiritual people, just go ahead and get, yourself warmed up. Like get in a space where you could kind of understand, like, hey, like this is gonna be a spiritual chat. Like I'm gonna be here for you. Um, I want you to be here for me. But most importantly, like we can grow together and we can build a relationship where like we could be honest with each other. We can give things up, to, whatever it is that, you believe in, whether it's God, Allah, because I'm going to be talking about all of that stuff. Jesus, Lord Shiva, Shivaya, just things like that, Hosanna, just really honestly giving it up. And it's gonna be a channel where we go through the mistakes that we've made, and we go through the process of letting things go. And like I said, honestly, just being honest. Uh, but anyway, I'm gonna get right down to it. I'm not gonna say too much, guys, but at the same time, I'm not gonna let our spirits go hungry because this is gonna be a channel where we're gonna be fulfilling the needs of our spirits, and we are going to be making sure that our spirits are fed, and that's gonna bring me into the point that I want to make with this video. Um, and that'll be done in a minute. Let me just introduce myself. For the people that who don't know me, my name is Kiana Whitaker right now, but I'm thinking about going through a name change. Kiana over here, Kiana Whitaker and Kiana for here are like two different names, but they mean the same thing. I just kind of want the other name that you guys see on my channel for here, so it's like Fajr, and it stands for like morning prayer, the Muslim morning prayer. Like I said on this channel, once you are traditionally, Muslim, you kind of find yourself thinking about everything. You have to kind of be in a sense where you can think about, um, business, life, babies, cars, boats, like, energy, and then energy relates to the universe, and like it relates to the fact that there are more people in the universe. Try to stick with me here. There are more people in the universe that are not really familiar with um, the metaphysical perspective that some people take, which essentially is a meaning in which kind of breaks down the core process of understanding of what vibration is and how you can visualize it. Whereas, Christianity kind of really just focuses on allowing that energy to kind of, you know, come into one spirit, and then they perceive it as God, or they perceive it as Jesus, in that sense. And, you know, like I said, I can perceive it both ways. I can try to perceive it both ways. Um, but in this, in the case scenario of having it on my channel, like I said, I thought that it would be good to perceive it both ways, because that's how I kind of got introduced into, the spirituality scene, and, growing faith, and making sure that, I'm on topic when it comes to making sure that like I do what it is I'm supposed to do. and staying up to date with any spiritual needs or any spiritual appointments that I have with the universe. Like saying, like, if the universe checks in on me, like, you just kind of seeing the vibration shift just then. If the universe checks on me and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, like, I don't really feel like that's a place for me to be for a long time. So that's why I kind of say, like, I want to make sure that every time by creating this channel and creating it for others too, we have a space where we can talk, we can ask spiritual questions. If you have questions, or if you finally want to give up whatever that is, that's holding you back, I want this channel to be a place where you can be comfortable doing that. And I'll try my best to, help you, even like one-on-one chats if we have to, um, just anything that could help, potentially someone that is in need and they want to, give up and change their lives, meaning they want to sacrifice whatever it is holding them back. Because, um, don't let me mistake you, I am not perfect, and I am definitely not 100% complete, but I do feel that I'm allowing multiple things to work through me, and I'm allowing myself to kind of see how the universe works at this time, and I'm allowing that hard energy inside of me, that energy that kind of makes me feel like I want to give up. I understand that that's an energy in which, I have to kind of work with, and I have to be comfortable with going through that, because that means I'm building something. If I'm getting tired, or if I'm getting worn out, then that means that I'm putting effort into something. So that means I'm kind of building um, my faith. Like, I'm kind of building the sense of knowing that there's hard work, there's consistency that needs to be put into the lifestyle. Like, there's consistency needs that needs to be met, that need to be put inside of the habitual style of your life, the aesthetic style of your life. Um, and just a little bit more about me. Like I said, I've been to jail, I've been on the drugs, I've done it all. Like, I'm by far, like I said, nowhere near perfect, but as I continue walking throughout this, journey, I want it to be a situation where, like I said, people can witness me getting better. I can witness people getting better. They can see me where I used to be, and then they can see me where I am now. And I think it'll just be a beautiful thing. And once you honestly learn how to be graceful for it, and you understand that the spiritual matter isn't a sense, guys, where you want to find yourself kind of in tune with wanting it all to work out, like wanting it all to just be good, and figure it out for the reason of that you want a new car per se, but in a sense of where you're being good for other powers higher than you, than you can understand at times. And that those spirits are gonna bring you into an era in your life where you start understanding that stability in the spirit is much more beautiful than stability in the financials, even though it'll come into fruition over time. But, like, doing that and doing certain missions, like by God, or by the universe, and just staying uplifted and things like that. Like, that's what this channel here is going to be about. Like, you come here to check in, I come here to check in, upload videos, and my mission too is, like I said, I felt like there was a calling, and I felt like, God, and over time, Allah, I started building trust, Jesus as well. I started building trust, and with that being said, I allowed these things, like I said, when I went to jail, I allowed these things to work through me. And just like a little informal testimony, um, I like literally did not used to talk to people. Like I had no care in the world about starting a YouTube channel or, you know, being spiritually in tune. And like I said, I have no idea how God, or how the universe is allowing me to shift in this way and figure out that I do have a spiritual presence and I do have a mission and I do have a desire to see people change and I do have a desire to see people do the right thing. um, and that's the same thing for you if you're watching this video or if you just even hear me talking sometimes. Like, I'm doing that because God has given me this spiritual hunger. It's this spiritual diet, this spiritual uh, craving, and like I said, once you kind of delve in and understand that, like, when you accept the process and you accept the fact that you're not seeing life correctly, because something in your life just doesn't feel right, you immediately kind of disregard, but later down the road, develop this sense of your spirit wants something else inside of it or with it other than distraction or other than lies. And that was the most beautiful thing that I found with this. And with creating a diet or creating this regimen, it just created the path for so much more in my life, honestly. And it just makes me want to get into it more and more and more every day. Even sometimes where I fall short, I still find myself to this day. I always apologize to the higher powers when I mess up, and I always say that I still want to keep going. So if you can find it, in your heart to forgive me, let me, keep going. And messing up could be as simple as um, just simple things, not having a girlfriend, just fornication, the sexual habits, the smoking, just these little um, edgy habits that, like, take your focus away from, being stable in the spirit and in the mind, which is exactly what the spiritual thing brings you. And that's why I want to get on here and kind of talk with people. And I'll even, you guys will see, I'll be wanting to bring some of you on the channel and for you to give your testimony and things like that. I'll, be going to church and things like that, churches, and just kind of moving around and just kind of understanding, people, and, allowing them to, you know, devote themselves that day to a spiritual message that will shift nations, a spiritual message that will allow their darkness to open up and finally find the light and allow a shift to happen within them, that will allow some type of stability, for a threshold of understanding and a threshold of light and a threshold of change to open up a channel inside of them for the forever and for the long time, and for them to just realize what it means to be spiritual successor, to be spiritually accepted. These are really grand titles, and I definitely think that once you um, find out uh, what it kind of means to kind of like be spiritually accepted and things like that, and um, you start seeing these things moving in your life, you will be thankful, you will be grateful, you know um you won't want anything else, which is why I said I feel so called. I feel so in tune, rather, um now that I'm doing things like this. Like, I feel like I could make 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more videos, um just because of how, fired up I am right now, or just how good that I'm vibrating right now. It's brought my focus way much like more into like fruition. Like I can focus a lot better. Um I can um help people a lot more. I've just been able to really escape that anxiety inside of myself that I never knew why I was suffering from it or why I even enjoyed it. Just things like that could be so simple and like so kind of in the dark, where it's like we just find ourselves honestly creating a diet that is so in the habitual ways of like conforming to what is wrong, that we find ourselves in the dark sometimes, and we don't know, like, when we finally look up and we wake up and we realize, like, dude, like, I'm alive, I have a life to live, like I have people that I want to be with, I have people that I want to be around. We kind of just look back and we see the things that we're doing and that we have been doing, and we're just like, dude, like, because this happened to me. I mean, it's like, dude, like, how is God still allowing me to live with the things that I've done? And you'll hear this so many times when you're on your spiritual walk. You hear testimonies and you hear people. They will talk about this and they'll be like, I have just never heard of someone doing something so bad and still being forgiven. But you know what? I always say that, there's multiple reasons why, God, in Jesus and, the Allah's, they will forgive us because they want us to keep walking, because they know that it's something inside of us that we don't know yet. That's why they can kind of use us, and they can kind of ask us to do things without us even knowing. We could been, there's just multiple situations that could have happened. We could have been, let's just be optimistic, because, when your spirit is open and you finally give up all of that trash that you've been thinking about, you know, it allows you to think in ways where, like, instead of being mad today, I'm gonna substitute that mad thought with the fact that, there's a whole spiritual archive alive and, at my disposal, or not at my disposal, but in my alternate route of life that I could accept and get into, because that's how the nature of things work. And especially if you want to change and you want to uplift the vibration of the planet, things like that, like, it's a pretty grand title and a pretty grand responsibility. It's a commitment, but like, it's a commitment to yourself, and like, you'll make deities happy, you know what I mean? You'll make the universe happy, and as we see spiritually, there are rewards for that, you know what I mean? Especially if you're struggling, that means you're drowning. I mean, it just means you're drowning. You have to be drowning in some type of spiritual despair that you yourself, your spirit, you don't know how to get out of, but you're not supposed to be in. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna try to wrap this video up, guys, at 25 minutes. But let me read this from my composition book. This was the very book that I actually had in the jail. And this is when I actually started like waking up, guys. Like, this is when I started becoming conscious, and this is when I started kind of seeing those exciting spiritual things happening for me. And that was like the things such as having visions, like having more friends. The friends started coming into the picture. Even though they were still in their toxic ways and things like that, I still had the compassion in my heart. I still had the compassion in my soul to want to help them. Like, was just burning. Like, I knew I just had to help them, no matter whatever they needed or whatever, problems they were going through. I was there, even if somebody thought that, I looked crazy or I looked stupid or this and that, I still helped. I still allowed them to figure out how to dig it out of them and how to offer it to God, and offer it as a sacrifice. God, I'll get right to the noodles. Like, if you want to get rid of it, just offer it for a sacrifice. Just get rid of it, offer it, and just like tell yourself like, hey, like why would I want to do this if it's wrong? Like why do I want to vibrationally tune to that? You know what I mean? And that's the same thing that these books are saying. They're saying, that's the same thing that these words are saying. These same thing that the word is saying. Like we don't do the universe does not exist off of hate. Like it just doesn't. Hate is temporary. It's a temporary feeling. Like, it's not forever. You do that sometimes because, you just, all of the bad thoughts and things like that. It's really hard to be vibrationally happy all the time. That's why you have to practice. Like it, that, and who knows what you've been telling yourself, these past couple of years, which is like the reason why it's like, all right, like, you know, um, all right, I'm just gonna accept being, not happy today, or I'm gonna accept, just whatever people tell me, I'm just gonna accept it. I'm just gonna be, and these are the things that make us mad at God, make us mad at these words, make us mad at, the books and things like that, because we think that it's the book's fault, but we haven't been doing the practice. And like I said, this is where the hard, responsibility comes in, where you have to hold yourself accountable, but you gain that through holding yourself accountable, and then day after day after day you build this relationship with doing the right thing, which is why I said, I'm not perfect. Sometimes, yes, I do fall short, but I always come back and I always make up for it. And like I always apologize and I give it up and I say, see, I see I'm dealing with this situation. Why am I dealing with this situation? I don't want it. Let me kind of get rid of it and things like that. So I always go back to prayer. Like I said, I haven't really been devout for more than like 2 years yet. Like it's a journey. You know what I mean? So I've probably been like devout for maybe 7 months. I looked on my YouTube channel earlier last night, and it actually surprised me because I did not think I was like devout for that long. Um, but I had been devout for it's saying like 7 months now, and honestly, it's probably been 7 months for me being clean off of drugs and stuff too. Like I used to be on drugs really, really bad, but as you can tell now, like I stay a lot more focused. Like I stay a lot more in tune. Like I know what it is that my heart wants, and it's definitely gonna be, those those situations where um I'm gonna want to be more consistent in my love. I'm gonna be want to be more consistent and um um doing the right thing. Like I'm not gonna want to be consistent doing the wrong thing because it's gonna tear my spirit up. I'm too sensitive for it. Like I'm too, smart for it. I just can't do it. And honestly, guys, just stop right there and just ask ourselves. We gotta ask ourselves, wow, so I'm literally sitting here, and this is what woke me up too. I was like, so I'm literally sitting here and I'm trying to wake myself up out of doing the wrong thing. And that was like that stopped me because I was like, wow, like so I'm literally sitting here having an issue. This is exactly what I said. I said, so I'm sitting here having an issue about doing the wrong thing. And then I was like, so what am I thinking about doing? You know what I mean? And so I was like, when I thought about that way, I was like, all right, well, maybe I really do need to sit down and pray and really ask God at this point, like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, if I'm saying I'm doing the wrong thing, then like, what am I supposed to be doing? And literally, he started showing me thing after thing after thing. Like I said, guys, it'll be like that for you too. You just have to make the decision, to make that change. And out of this book, I want to read this thing that I had in the book before I get ready to close it out. Hopefully at like 26, 27, 28 minutes. I was gonna close out 24 minutes, but it got so good. But um, and this is for the ones who are like going through it and like they want to change. It says it's not that you don't want to change. It's the simple fact that in the unknowing mind, the or a solution doesn't exist. So, with that being said, it's like you're ready to change, you're here, you're watching the spiritual videos, you're making the progress, you're making the decisions, and in your mind, this is just something to kind of like ease up that pouting, ease up that grout, ease up that grit, ease up that gloop of in yourself, like, why am I doing the wrong thing? Like, why can't I give it up? Or, do I even care? Just all these subconscious thoughts, like I said. And, and this was just a message, because sometimes, like I said, when you tap in and you finally allow your mind to be a channel, to be a vortex, to be an area or space where uh, these spatial things happen, to where there can be a manifestation of different things to be had in your mind, um, and for it to be a space where different ideas come into your mind. um, um, it, Once you give up the thinking about the negative, the positive will come into your mind, such as becoming opportunistic, becoming optimistic rather than negative. Like all of these beautiful things, and you'll want to talk forever. You'll want to always have friends. You'll always have the answer to the darkness. You'll always have an answer, and only by staying devout, and only by staying true, and only by staying sincere, always by staying thankful, and understanding that being spiritual is a spiritual task, it's a spiritual experience. It is nothing far from divine. Once you start having these realizations and you start having the sensual awareness of, hey, maybe I'm being talked to by something spiritual, or I'm being talked to by something that's much more in tune than me. It brings you to a space where you have no other option than to realize the information that you receive spiritually. And you'll get what I mean by that once you stay devout for, just give yourself maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even just today. You start today, because it always starts today. It always starts with realizing where the problem may be, and allowing God and allowing the universe and allowing yourself to attract possible solutions, and just ask for a new pathway to think. Ask for a new pathway to, believe, because there's no telling. If we're lost in the dark, what are we believing? We're believing, hey, it's over for me. I have no nothing. Like I'm just gonna give it up. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's not just a thought. I mean, these are things that we're believing, guys. So that's why I say, it's not that you don't want to change. It's the simple fact that in the unknowing mind, the or a solution doesn't exist. Doesn't exist, guys. So, what are you to do? You know what I mean? And never, never, ever, ever in that situation, for some reason in the human mind, we never think that prayer is the answer. But I'm going to allow you guys to understand why making the right decisions, or why by making the right decisions and giving up those old habits, the smoking, the sex, the drugs, the too many girlfriends, too many boyfriends, the just this overload of crap, this overload of just non-prosperous thinking, non-spiritually accepted thinking, like, why you're gonna understand why all of that's wrong, why all of that doesn't matter, and how you're gonna receive messages will be obtained by your spiritual experience, by how you decide to receive this video. If you receive this video and you keep making the wrong mistakes, your spiritual condition is not going to change. And you're not going to see the results that I'm talking about. You're not going to see or have these spiritual realizations and the spiritual experiences that I myself personally can witness by. But I encourage you, try it. If you want to change, it all starts in your mind. It all starts in where you think. It all starts in your heart. It all starts in your body. if the point in which where I react or I realize reality is in my mind, then how must one go about realizing reality different? Well, again, like I said, you have to realize that the solution does not exist. So you could be thinking that the solution is, you know, the car outside or a car outside. You could be thinking the solution is a freaking a Maybach, or which eventually, I mean, that might be the case scenario. But it could be all of these things. It could be all these things. But like I said, you have to be divinely guided, and it is that's a nice sight to see, a Maybach. I'm not gonna let me back. I'm not saying Maybach. You could be thinking that it's the drugs, because Maybach is a really nice car. Let me not be mistaken, or let me not mistake myself or talk too fast. But you may think that it's like these drugs, these illegal drugs, these drugs that are killing people, this fentanyl, all this stuff, these opiates, all this crazy stuff that our mind is being, or some of us are allowing our mind to fall victim to. It is not what it is. It is not what you think. It is not the only thing that allows you to think correctly and to be happy all the time. I know that that sounds impossible, and it does sound like a good deal. It sounds like something that we want, and it sounds like something that we need, because it is. We need to be in a high vibration that feels good. That's why we like doing it. That's why the books say it's important, because if you are in a low vibration, guess what? You're gonna show the universe how to do these things. That's almost the same thing as being evil. That said, verse 14 in the surah, the Quran says, the fashioner, when they meet those who believe, they say, we believe. But when they are alone with their evil ones, they say, we are really with you. We were only jesting. That's why I say you need to get off the drugs and things like that, because you say you want to change, but when the drugs come around, you add to the evil and you say that you want to do the drugs instead of healing. But then later on in life, like Quran says, it says, when they meet those who believe, they say, we believe. They say, when they meet those who believe, they say, we believe. But when they are alone with their evil ones, they say, we are really with you. We were only jesting. That's why I say, when the drugs come around, you gotta say no. When the people come around, you gotta say no. And it's not gonna happen overnight, but you can start seeing progress overnight, and then you can build yourself up, build yourself up, build yourself up, and you get stronger and stronger. That's where I am now. Like I said, that's why I can only give you that type of information of saying that it's not gonna, because it's not gonna happen overnight. I mean, you gotta think about it. You're reversing habits, guys, that um have just been in our lives subconsciously, and we've just been accepting it subconsciously for we don't know how long. So I say the spiritual process, you don't know how long. I mean, you just have to, like I said, be divinely guided, and just however you feel that the universe tells you, hey, I'm gonna put this in there, be on the lookout for it, be looking out for the test. And God eventually, the books eventually, Allah eventually will make you uh, uh, um, 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 resourceful in the ideality of actually being able to outmaneuver those bad thoughts, guys, because he did it for me in jail. That's what this book is. He did it for me in jail. That's what this video is. That's what this whole channel is about. I mean, he changed my aesthetic. He changed my life. The pictures, the simple trees. I don't have that much stuff in my room. I have a simple computer setup, a simple book, my binder, a phone. I keep it simple. On my phone, there are no bad apps. I used to have bad apps on there, drug apps, just like bad negotiation apps, and just horrible, horrible things that would just destroy my spirit. I would just, think that, hey, I want somebody like for a night. Well, Allah does not believe that. He says that when you want someone in your life, or you want to be with someone for life, this is a Dura says that you don't want them just for a little bit. You want them for forever because Allah says that we're spiritual. Words say that we are spiritual. They say that we must live forever. Like I said, be divinely guided on that. Be divinely open to receiving how you're going to understand how that works. For the spiritual ones out there, you will be intervened at the time of your doubt, and it will show you how that's going to work. Like I said, I hope everyone is touched by these videos that needs to be. Hope spirit sifts through, drifts through, and is agile with the way that it decides who it wants to change and who it wants to bring to me, guys. Like I said, I had my heart opened in jail, guys. I'm closing this out. I had my heart opened in jail, and I used to be so scared to talk to people. I used to hate people, literally. If people did not, if they tried to talk to me, I would not talk to them. I would not respond. I would not engage like at all. And in jail, like I said, guys, like I had people that were coming up to me. They were thanking me for praying with them. They knew that I was there in the spirit. And guys, God opened my mind. Like things that I thought were done and over with, that I thought were evil forever, He showed me that it was actually another perspective that I had not ever seen before. And He showed me that it was actually something totally different. Had I not reached out to God, and had I not showed Him that I am allowing myself, I am accepting the fact that I'm understanding that He can bend reality, He can change reality, He can amend reality, He can also influence reality. So, if that's a case scenario, then anything in a bad situation, right, gives me the ability, guys, to be graceful for the outcome, in which is amended by God after the fact that I thought that the original or the true and only reality, the accepted reality by Him, was to be an utter failure and utter pitifulness, utter sorrow, utter dread, utter darkness, and all these other dark emotions and low vibration. That's not what He wanted, guys. That's why it's not accepted. That's why that stuff doesn't exist, and that's why we don't like it, because we want to be happy. We know something else, and that's a relationship with the universe when it is happy, and it's um happy with the people that's helping it be happy, and the people that are allowing themselves to change to become vibrationally attuned to that reality, guys. It's a whole different life. I swear. I talk about it. Like I said, I'm getting super motivated about this, guys. I'm excited. I don't even care if I only have one video and one view on this video, because I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna keep bringing people on. Watch videos, guys. I don't care how low you feel. Just whenever you feel the need, go watch my video and have this as a reminder that you can give it up. It's not the fact that you don't want to change, because you do want to change. It's the fact that in the unknowing mind, the or a solution does not exist, guys. And just think about it, when you devote yourself to that, to the understanding that just an opportunistic mind, a vibrational shift as such, will allow you to set yourself up for a much more easier future, in the long run, than if you just don't decide to help yourself at all. You know, and I mean, just start small. You would rather be happy the next time you thought than sad. So just start there. And once you're happy, the next time you think, hey, you're literally like so much better, and it helps you think, whatever darkness that you thought, just give it up. You know what I mean? Like just give it up. It feels good. Like guys, I could go about this forever. But I'm gonna read one more thing. Um I'm gonna read one more thing. And guys, this is a true nugget, but like right here, I'm gonna read this. Because I think this was a good thing, and then I'm gonna get off of it seriously. Um, but one thing, like I said too, about it, and why I think this is good for the people who want to change, and why I'm so into it, and I want to see people grow, is because I enjoy people realizing consciousness. Like, I enjoy people seeing the light bulb turn on. You know, I'm still developing patience with this because I had an experience yesterday, um, where, someone woke up and it was pretty dramatic because when they woke up, I didn't really understand, and I really did not expect for them to have so much light in them that it kind of disrupted me because in a sense it kind of told me, and that's why I say every when you become devout, guys, when you pray and when you give it up, you're giving up a false understanding, guys. You're giving up a false understanding. And it's so exciting because it allows you to kind of accept the fact finally that life is different. Life is much, much, much different than we thought. You know, it's much more happier than we thought. It's much more stable than we thought. It's much more acceptance of us than we thought. It's much more impatient on the bad things like than we thought, like, but it's much more healing than we thought as well. And that's where I get off on it too, on the notation of where, like, I have to do this. Like, I have to see people get better because, like, that's in my soul. Like, I have to see myself get better. I have to see my mom get better. I have to see you guys get better. I have to see um my reality get better. I have to see my spirit, jump for joy. I have to see people in recognition and in acceptance of my presence and happy that I am there, regardless of what we've been through, because we know that now that we're together forever, and now that we see each other and we accept each other for the change that we said we wanted to make, and for the efforts that we're putting forward towards the change that we want to make, we kind of start forming this relationship and we accept what a higher reality, in time going forward from this point on, in a regards of progression, because by moving forward you have to do what? You have to let go of what's holding you back, and you have to let go of what does not accept you, and it does not accept the fact that you want to change, which is evil. It's gonna it's evil. It's watering a plant that's gonna kill you. I mean, it's evil. Like I said, just don't hang around those people, or even try to get them to change, guys. That's why I said your enemies, guys. Did sometimes they don't even be your enemies. They just be people that don't know either. Like, like I said, when I got woken up, guys, and I got called to help you guys and things like that, and I allowed myself to be opened up emotionally. I was awakened, like I said, when I allowed someone to shift the other day. They woke up with so much energy and woke up with so much light and so much emotion that it literally confused me, and I did not know how to take it. Like, I was honestly offended, but I didn't even know I was offended, guys. Like, I was such in this spiritual confusion that I was just like, dude, like, I've been thinking about life the entire wrong way. Like, it's like I wonder why I was sad. Like, I wonder why I was upset. Like, I wonder why I couldn't reach out to people, and I wonder why I could not be, this ultimate manifester and have my life in order, uh because I wasn't doing anything right, and I was accepting trash. I was accepting trash, and in return for my presence. I was accepting trash as if I was trash. I was accepting trash as if I didn't need the spiritual downloads to get better. And what is that? That's almost evil itself. You know, just think about it, guys. It's a beautiful thing when the spirit cares about you so much that it tells you that it is evil to not accept, or it is harmful to not accept those things that will in the end help you get to the next phase of bettering your life spiritually. Which leads me to this last point that I was making. Guys, the best thing about the change and the best thing about this is um, allowing yourself to understand and resonate with the fact that you want to change. You accept the fact that you want to heal. You accept the fact that you might need help. You accept the fact that maybe people aren't after you. You accept the fact that maybe darkness is real. You accept the fact that, the universe is more powerful than that. You accept the fact that you're comfortable in seeing people change. You accept the fact that you are actually comfortable in being happy, but you just don't know how to accept that. You just don't know what words to put into your head to that would make that make sense. But it's so great because when you start seeing that, you start allowing yourself to set this pace for your mind that allows you to realize how it feels to uh, 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 set the plating or the preparation for the diet that you put your spirit on, guys. And that's so beautiful, like I said, because when you do that and you put your spirit on a diet, and you put your spirit on a diet for only the things that make it happy and make it acceptable by the word. Guys, what does that mean? You're going to be addicted to doing the right thing, so your addiction stop, your spiritual diet changes, so you go from not healing yourself and you go from talking about things that hurt you. You go from talking about things that don't help you to you go to craving things that help you, guys. That's why I say the word, the channel, it's all for you to have realizations such as that, guys. You change your diet, you change your life, you change the people you hang around, you change the way that you think, and you change the way that you vibrate. Like I said, it's a beautiful thing, guys. It's a beautiful thing. So I wrapped it up with saying, guys, just realize aesthetic, guys. Realize the change and realize that reality may have not been what you thought it was. So with that being said, guys, hey, I appreciate you guys so much. If you guys need any help, always drop some hearts down below, and I'll freaking do my best to reach out to you. Like I said, in the future, I'll have people on to the channel with their testimonies and things like that as well. And I always will love helping you guys. Remember, we're in this together, and just fall for the change, guys. It's not hard. Just fall for it. Realize you want it, and I promise you will manifest it, guys. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Peace.